doing with Emirates Airlines and some of the work around technology advancement in the Middle East and particularly Dubai. So thank you for being on the show with us today.
Very welcome. Yes.
Okay.
Be here.
Pleasure. So I just want you to give the audience a little bit of an idea of the work that you're doing in the field of technology, particularly around the Middle East. So if you could just give us a little bit of information there.
So the Middle East is a very up-and-coming area when it comes to technology. There's a lot of adoption, and you can imagine a city like Dubai over the last 2 decades has moved from a forward-looking small town into what today is a global hub of technology. And you would have seen organizations like Emirates Airlines again grow from a regional airline into a leading global airline. And the same is also true for all industries in Dubai and in the region. You've seen many businesses grow from ground up to become world class. Technology has been a big driver around that, and there's a lot of focus on enabling technology to transform business and the way these organizations are actually performing their drive for transformation.
Excellent. So a lot of fascinating stuff that you're working on. So let's get into a little bit about you and what really fuels your passion for technology.
Well, I'm a technologist at heart. I started with IBM in the software development labs in Hursley, just outside London. And at that time, we were working on transaction processing software, which is very critical to business transformation. And in my early days, I worked in a global role around the world to help organizations really use technology to transform business. I remember using transaction processing to automate business processes in financial institutions, use it to modify and transform workflows in retail. Of course, we all know the use of technology in airlines. That has been something there in the 60s. But that was fascinating to me because I was able to really understand how the business is transforming by using technology. And transaction processing really hits the heart of the business. And that's really the core of the business processes that they have. And that was with me ever since I've been with the software business and then moving on to the services organizations. It made a lot of sense always to go back to the question, why are we doing this and what's the business impact of using technology around that? And that's developed over the years. And as we have waves around technology, every time we see how we can get more value out of this transformation.
It's fascinating. So you work very, very closely with the Emirates Airlines clients. Can you tell us a little bit about the partnership between IBM and Emirates and why they have really looked to IBM as a trusted partner to help expand their business?
Of course, Emirates is a global airline headquartered in the UAE and has a similar culture to IBM, which again is a global company. IBM has been in the region for a long time. So we started with Emirates really at the early days with our mainframe technologies. The data was sitting on our storage. So there's a lot of familiarity on both sides working together. Over the last few years, we've also enhanced our relationship, moving deeper into an as a service model that helps us and help them also work together in a transformative way. So over the years, we really built a deep and meaningful relationship on both sides. We understand them, they understand us, and makes it easy to work together.
So the Emirates Airlines, more than just an airline in the Middle East, they're very influential in just the entire region. So can you tell me a little bit about some of the work that you're doing in the region and advancing technology there?
Of course. So you mentioned the region is diversifying away from hydrocarbons or oil. And they're creating industries. Aviation is one of them, and that's where Emirates Group comes into it, which today contributes to something like 22% of the GDP of Dubai. But similar diversification happened in telecommunication, healthcare, government services, financial services, and so on. And that's a big transformative initiative that's been going on for a couple of decades now. And technology plays a big role in this transformation.
Can you tell me a little bit about the initiatives that Dubai has around technology and kind of their roadmap and where they want to be?
Well, recently we've been involved in a number of initiatives around how to use technology, but the most fascinating one for me was an initiative to try and do today what other cities will do 10 years from now. And that's a big jump, and it enables you to understand what kind of business process transformation, what kind of technology integration you need to put today so that you have a platform that enables you to transform today and be ready for what other cities might be doing 10 years from now. And it's quite an ambitious plan, and IBM has been involved in a number of related initiatives around this transformative drive, and that keeps Dubai ticking, and that's the spirit that we have in the Middle East. You need to remember that we're driven by two things. One is we've got a very young population. 50% of the population is less than 25 years of age. In 10 years, they're going to be the majority of the workforce. They are all digital native people. They love technology. They understand how to work with technology. And the other component, of course, is the transformation around diversification of the economy and trying to drive growth by creating industries beyond or aside of the oil and gas industry in the region. And for that, technology is key. And there's a lot of focus on education, on enablement. The UAE has the first artificial intelligence minister in the world, and that's a statement on how important this is, how important the whole story about data and analytics, how they are actually going to transform the economy around digital. Yeah?
So you had an interesting point when I spoke to you yesterday, just about their position on open data. Mm-hmm. And you kind of mentioned that they're looking at that similarly to how IBM and Ginny's looking at it as, the new oil.
Absolutely.
So can you tell me a little bit about that perspective?
Absolutely. So in the same way hydrocarbons shape the economy, the global economy, and very much the Middle Eastern economy in the last 100 years, data is going to fuel growth and economic value globally, but also in the Middle East. We can know that 95% of all data that we have today has been generated in the last 2 years. One interesting stat I read yesterday is 10% of all the pictures taken around the world have been taken in the last month. So that gives you an idea of how much data, structured and unstructured, is there today. And that's going to help us get insight, help us get understanding of what's going on, enable us to capture all these different data streams in order to create value. It will transform industries beyond what we think possible today. And that is going to fuel artificial intelligence, it's going to fuel machine learning. We're going to get into a world, man and machine, and we're going to be better at what we're doing, and we need to be able to also develop ourselves continuously to cope with that change. So the time of going to school and university and finishing that education in your life is over. You're going to be continuously learning and developing in order to maintain the skills needed to drive and transform the business and the industry you're working in.
So much there. It's just crazy to think about where we are in technology in the future, and you've left us with so much to think about, and we are actually at time. So with that thought, we're going to wrap things up. Bashar, thank you so much. For all of you tuning in, if you would like to schedule a consultation with an expert like Bashar, make sure you click the link below, and stay tuned for the next episode of Pioneers of Possible. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.